Welcome to Alladi Cloud Training. My name is Mal Alladi. Today I'm going to be giving a demo session on Java full stack. Let's get started. Our mission is to make you job ready. Looks very simple, but we will be doing everything possible to make you job ready. Our vision is to be the global center of excellence, and I'm going to go over that a little bit how we will be that one. So basically, our mission is to make the students job ready. Yeah. So this institute is started by visionaries with 30 years of industry experience and having delivered projects worth billions of dollars in US. So we are bringing that experience to this institute and make the students job ready by applying the industry level techniques, making students do industry standard projects, applying world class teaching methodologies so that the students who are taking training from us will become job ready. So whatever the industry knowledge, the project delivery experience we have, that we will be bringing it to our training institute. And also, we have a state-of-the-art learning management system. We call it Act Now Cloud. So we have a website, actnowcloud.com. We also have mobile apps that support this training. So these mobile apps, they will be a big asset for you. Basically, these mobile apps will reinforce the training what you are learning. They will be helpful in certification and also acing the interviews. Okay. So our vision, basically, like I said, we would like to become a center of excellence in the training area. So we will be using our current product development. Uh, we will be using our software development center and also the resources associated with this product development and software development center to enrich this training, to strengthen this training. And we will be, giving you, the students, the insights to these projects and these products. So you will be directly having a visibility into these products and projects, and you will be directly working with some of them. Another important thing is we will be applying the same development methodologies what we are applying in developing our products and projects here, so that you will be getting that first-hand project experience, product experience. So we will be making you use agile development methodology. We will making you use GitHub for code control. We will make you employ logs into the projects you will be doing. So then you will be debugging the problems using those logs. Then we'll also make sure you deploy these to AWS so that you'll get that first-hand deployment experience into cloud. So with all this, you will be having industry level hands-on experience, industry level project experience, and the end of the training, you will be project ready, and you don't have to be um, worrying about how I will be actually working in a company, what all will be there, whether I will be able to perform there or not. These kind of issues you won't be there after finishing the training successfully. So I would like to make you listen our demo video for a couple of minutes. Let's see what we have here, okay?
Are you ready to transform your technology career dreams into reality? Look no further. Master coding and confidence at Alati Cloud Training Institute. We're now in Hyderabad, bringing you world-class training straight from the US. Why choose our institute over others? Simple. We offer a perfect blend of passionate technology trainers, modern facilities, and project-based learning and trending courses that let you gain real-world experience. Whether you're a computer science whiz or a tech newbie, we've got you covered. With an ideal ambience for comfortable studies, affordable fee plans, interactive workshops, and project-based learning, our institute is backed by American technology leaders with over 30 years of experience, having made billions of dollars worth of projects a reality. Our top-notch training covers Java, Python, AI, AWS, data science, cybersecurity, Flutter, and a lot more. With each of these courses, get hands-on with GitHub, agile methodologies, AWS deployment, and debugging with loggers. Our expert trainers have turned lakhs of students into job-ready pros, boosting not just their tech knowledge, but also shaping their personality, confidence, and communication skills. Don't settle for less when you can get the best. Enroll now and grab a massive 50% discount on all course fees. Download our app from Google Play Store or Apple Store for all the course notes, practice tests, and exclusive content to stay ahead. Act now. Join us at Alati Cloud Training Institute, your launchpad to a stellar tech career.
So one thing I think I forgot to mention is we not only teach you the technical stuff, but we will also be teaching you some communication skills, how to prepare for interviews, and we'll also give you placement assistance in finding jobs or help you locate or point you to where the jobs are. We ourselves will be absorbing some people into our projects based on our requirement and based on your performance. So, in today's session, this is what we will be discussing: fundamentals of programming, introduction to Java, programming with Java, advanced Java, what is full stack, introduction to database, ACS and Java, and some question and answer session, right? So these are just intended to be, giving you some kind of feeling as to what we will be teaching you, how that will be, how that will be hands-on and all that. Okay. Fundamentals of programming. What is a program? So you must have studied this in your classroom. What is a program, and how is that important to understand? A program is nothing but a set of instructions that are logically arranged to solve a problem. So it's nothing but logic you can think of. And for that program, we typically have input and then output. So a program is nothing but a logical process or a logical arrangement of instructions that converts a set of input to a set of output. It's nothing but that. So logic building is a very important part of programming. So learning language is one thing, but logic building is another thing. For any programmer, you have to know how to write programs, how to build logic, how to think logically. So without that, writing some innovative programs, solving problems, or applying some logic and thinking of some innovative way to solve a problem becomes tough. So it's important to apply this logic early on and build some programs that require some logic, and then in the long run, that will be useful for you to code any requirement into a program. Programming is both the science and art. So I tell my students all the time that just learning a language is not going to make you a good programmer. You have to know how to apply it, You have to think logically. You have to think a little bit artistically, innovatively to solve a problem. That's why programming is always science and art. So let's start with a couple of simple programs. So I just want to reiterate that we are full practical oriented, programming oriented, and hands-on project oriented kind of learning teaching institute. So let's jump right into a program and then see what is that I'm talking about. Yeah. So let's see where is our yeah. So let's start with some simple program here. Um, so we are using Eclipse to basically write programs, right? So we will use Eclipse throughout our training for developing, simple programs, mini projects, large projects, and everything. Let's start with this program. So don't worry about a lot of things here. I just want to start with some simple program and logic. Yeah, every program has to have a class, and then the class will have a method called main, and then this is public static void main we are declaring. So we will go into these details why we are declaring like this and all that. But if you look at this program, I just want you guys to focus on the logic. Yeah. So there are two variables here. Actually, these are the input variables you can think of, I, and we are assigning a value 10 to it, and then we are also declaring it as an integer. So you will know more about what is an integer, what's the range of the data, and all that in the class. But let's assume that integer is a number where you can assign a number to it. A variable is like a storage location where you can put some values there or store some values there. And then there is another variable j. We are assigning the value to 20 to it. And then we are declaring another variable k, and then we are giving an initial value of 0 to it. So all we are doing is, the logic here is adding these two numbers. So I plus j is the logic, what we are doing, and assigning that to the variable k. And then we are printing that value with system.out.println k. So whatever this I and then j, whatever that sum, that is already given to k, and then you will be printing that value k here. This is a very simple program, but there is some logic in it. That is I plus j, and then we are assigning that to k. Now, if you run it, so to run this, I'm pressing Control F11. So we got the value 30, right? So I equals to 10, j equals to 20. Then we got the value 30. But there is some more statements here. Let's go to those statements next. But let's stop this program. So what do we have in this program? So we have a logic that is I plus j. That's an addition logic, and then we are assigning that to the variable k. And before that, we have two input variables I and j, and then we have an output variable k, and then we are outputting that value k here, that is 30, right? So this program is all about applying some logic, that is, I plus j, and then assigning it to an output variable k. But then we also have two input variables, and then we have given values 10 and 20 there. But we are only going to get 30 always. There is nothing much we are achieving with this. But we have a simple extension of this program where we are reading a value of I from a input system, that is from the keyboard system.in. So this statement is just creating a scanner object S, with input system, that's through our keyboard, and S dot next int. That means whatever you type, it will take it as an input and assign it to variable I. And then whatever you type next, that will be given to J. And then we are doing the same thing like what we are doing here, except each time you run it, then you will be getting two different inputs, adding them and then assigning it to K and then printing it. So let's run one more time now. So if you run one more time, then it is running and it printed value 30. So now I'm giving a input, 56, and then 44, then it is giving you the value 100. So each time you run, it can ask you for two integers, and based on those two integers, it can actually give you that output. It's a very simple program, nothing much into this. But now to make it a little bit interactive, right? So we can remove this. We don't need that. And but let's say int I, comma j, comma k. So we are declaring three variables: integer I, j, k. So and then we are getting these values, right? So to make this interactive, so we can what we can do, we can say enter first variable value, first integer value, you can say, okay? So you are reading this first integer here, and then you can say enter second integer value, or input value, you can say. And then here you can say so we are making this a little bit interactive program now. Enter first input value, right? So I'll say 25. Enter second input value, say 65. Sum of two values you entered is 90. So this is now becoming like a little bit of interactive program where you're asking the system to asking the person to enter two values. You're adding it and then entering the value 90. So this is the logic. But let's say you want to find out if the entered value, if the sum of the two values is a even number or odd number, right? It's like a very basic, logic we are trying to apply here. So here you said the sum is 90, but we want to check if k mod 2 equals to 0, then we are going to say uh, sum is an even value, right? Else uh, sum is an odd value. So what is the logic we applied here? All we are doing is k percentage 2. This percentage symbol is used for finding the modulus. What is modulus? So the modulus is when you divide k with 2, whatever is the remainder is there, that is called modulus. For that, we use that percentage operator. But how do you know you have to apply percentage operator here to find out modulus? That's what you'll be learning in the language, right? So language has a certain set of rules, certain set of things in it, certain set of libraries, APIs, all that you will be learning in the language. So, and then whatever you learn, you will be applying to solve a problem. What is the problem here? The problem here is to add two numbers, and the sum you want to find out, or you want to tell the user whether it is a even sum or odd sum. That's all it is, right? To do that, first you took two inputs from the user, and then we have printed that output here. Sum of two numbers. This is the output, and then now we are checking whether this k mod 2 equals to 0. So when you divide a number with 2 and the remainder is 0, that means it's an even number, right? That's the logic we are applying. But how do you know you have to do that? Because you know in the language that there is a modular symbol percentage, and that gives you reminder. So you have to now build your logic. Okay, so I have an operator that is giving me the reminder. So what can I do with that? So if I want to find out if a number is even or odd, if I divide it with 2, if I'm getting a reminder 0, that means it's a even number. Why we have to do with 2? That's a mathematics, and that's a rule. You cannot do it with 3. Then it doesn't make sense, right? That's why you have to do it with 2. So, and if it is 1, it will be either 0 or 1 because you are dividing it with 2. Then we know it is an odd number, right? That's what it is. So let's run this one more time. Okay, 34, 27. So sum is an odd value. So because it's a 61 and it is giving you sum is an odd value. So this is how we do the programming and build the logic. And this is like a simple program, right? But to build the logic, to become better at it, you have to do a lot of programs like this. So that's what will make you do. So let's jump into a little bit of advanced Java, where I will be showing you like one example of advanced Java application. Let's take an example of socket program. Yeah. So what is advanced programming? Advanced programming is same as basic programming, except that in advanced programming you will be able to do certain things very easily, like talking, one program talking to another program. So it looks simple on the surface, but yet it is so powerful. We will be able to talk to a different program. For example, right, I am giving a presentation, and now you are able to listen to the presentation through Zoom. So you have a Zoom program which you are running, and you are sitting somewhere remotely, and I have my Zoom program, and I am using that Zoom program and sitting somewhere remotely. So, but these two programs are talking to each other. So it's that simple concept, right? So they are talking to each other. Whatever the voice I'm uh, generating, that voice is taken by this Zoom application here, and it's going to a program sitting somewhere, that Zoom server, and then from there it is coming to you because you are also another client like me connected to that Zoom server. So a client, a server, right? The server is sitting somewhere in the middle. You are one client, I am another client. and then these two clients are talking to each other through this server. So this is what is called client server programming. So whatever the input, um, whatever the input, the server is whatever the output the server is producing, that's becoming the input of the client. Whatever the output of the client, that's becoming the input to the server. So like I'm a client, whatever I'm talking, that is output, and that's going to become an input to the server, and then it's taking that input and producing that input as an output, and then that another client can read that as input. Same thing. I mean, it can also be the same thing for me, because whatever you are talking, that will become output to you, and then it goes to the server as input, and then that server will send that to me as input. So basically, that's the client server concept. And then socket programming is a powerful tool. It's typically available in a lot of languages, or most of the languages, and Java has that concept also, where you have to learn how to uh, write the server, how to write the client, so that you can make two programs talk to each other. So let's jump right into this. So here, basically, um, this is a training server. So let's say we are developing a training server. It's not about giving any training or anything. I just named it as training server. All it does is accepts a communication from a student, and then communicates back to the student. So if you look at here, Java is providing all these packages or library to us. So it is telling us, okay, use uh, this socket library or socket programming this way, so you can actually develop a server. So that's what you have to learn in socket programming. That's what we will be teaching you, of course. But so what we are trying to do here is, we are just trying to say, okay, I'm establishing a socket, a server socket, on a port number 6400. Yeah. So after that, we are going to accept any connection from a client. So this is what server dot accept, and then that accept will give us a socket. Socket is nothing but like a pipe, a connection between two programs. So one program A is trying to connect to this server B, then there will be a socket established like a pipe between these two programs. Then that pipe will have two streams, input stream and output stream. So there is like a connection to talk to the server. The client's output will go to the server as an input, uh, and then that is like an input stream to the server. The output stream is from server, it will go to the client, and then client will read that as an input, right? So now if you look at this, so we are establishing an input stream here, and then we are establishing a output stream here, and for this uh, and then we are also taking another stream that's like system.in. This is to read the input from the keyboard. That's all. So what we are doing here is we are using a while statement. This is like a loop where these particular statements between these two curly brackets will be repeating until the statement becomes false. Okay. So while the statement is true, then it just keeps on repeating. That's the purpose of this while loop. So, so if you look at here, the string not equals to by. So this will be repeated. When this becomes by, then this loop will be exited, right? So right now the string is nothing, empty, and it is not by. So it will go string equals to, and then this buffer it will read, um, and then this is the student communication we are saying, and then whatever the student is typing, that's the student communication, right? Um, if you look at here, str2 br dot read line, yeah. Um, so sorry, actually this din is data input stream. This is coming from the socket, right? Look at here, s dot get input stream. So until we are not receiving that by, yeah, uh, we are not going to be exiting. So this str, we are taking it from din. So that's from the socket. So we are reading it from the socket. That's the client. So now if you look at str2, this is we are directly reading from br. That is like from the keyboard what we have here, whatever we are typing. And then we are sending that out to str2. That str2, we are sending it to dout. Dout is the output stream of this socket. And then we are doing dout.flush. Flush means we are just saying, okay, send it. Okay. So essentially what we are doing is we are reading a string from the socket connection, and we are reading a string from our keyboard and then sending it to that socket connection. So basically when a client is connected to the server, what we are doing is we are reading a string from the client as an input, and then we are taking a string from our keyboard and then sending it as output, and then that will become input to the client. So what where is this uh, client, right? So this is a so this is let me save this. So training client. So this is the client. What is client doing? So client is basically connecting to that port 6400, and then this local host is the place where the server is. If you look at here, the server is saying I'm going to be at 6400, but it did not say where it is. But since we are running it here, this is becoming the local host. That's why we are specifying here this is the local host. But let's say this is running at some IP address somewhere, or it's running at Google, then we will be putting like google.com here. Okay. But if it is running at Facebook, then we'll be putting facebook.com here. That's the difference, right? So now it's the same thing. It's making a socket connection. It's not saying socket server because it's not the server. It's only the client. So client will just make a connection to the server. So at this point, this is making a connection to the server, which is sitting at localhost, that is in the same computer, and then at the port 6400. Now this socket will have two connections, two streams, like I said. One is input, another one is output. The input to this is the output from the server. The output of this will go to input as the input to the server. And then again, it also has a uh, buffer reader from the keyboard, because it will be taking some data from the keyboard, and then it will be sending to the server as output. So if you look at here, it has the same kind of while loop. It is reading from the socket, and then first actually it is reading from the BR, that is like a keyboard, and then it is sending it to the server, and then it is reading from the socket, and it is then displaying that as the output. So to see this, how this is working, so let's run the socket first, socket server first. So this output is from our previous example, so don't worry about it. So if you run now, so enter first input value. Yeah, no, but this is still running from there. So we have to put, okay, sorry, 1 second. So now we are running the training server. There is no, uh, system.out println statement before this while loop. So it is just waiting for the socket connection to happen, right? So now if you go to training client program, this is our client. Now when you run this will connect to the local host on 6400 port. So if you run this, so the training client is running now. So you can give a so let's say you type hello. So now the console window shifted to training server. So if you look at here, you have two consoles. One is a training server. This is the training server console we are at right now. And then there is another one called uh, training client. Yeah. So training client, we typed hello. And then in training server, it said student communication hello. Right. If you look at training server, the student communication here, this is what it is. And then hello. And now we are taking a input from this server and then sending it to the student, right? So here, if you say hello, then that will go to training client. It says hello, right? So that means these two programs are talking to each other now, right? To make it interesting, let me say, do you have Java training? So the training server now received student communication. Do you have Java training? So the training center is saying, yes, a demo is going on. So if you look at the training client, now it says, yes, a demo is going on, right? And now the student is asking, when does it start? So student communication, when does it start? September 18th. September 18th. So basically, these two programs are talking to each other, right? But there has to be like a predefined protocol, what student is going to say, what the server is going to say, all that has to be programmed in such a way so these programs are going to understand each other. This is very simple client and server program. We are already assuming that student is going to ask some questions, server is going to answer it. That's all we are saying. Not much complex. That's why this is fine. Otherwise, we have to have like a proper protocol, some commands and all that stuff between these two programs. That's what you will be designing like a client server, right? Now, if you want to end, we said you have to type bye, right? If you type bye and then the student communication says bye, then this will come out of the loop. And then the training server also when says it bye. Now both the programs are ended. It's not running anymore, right? If you look at client or server, both are terminated because we said bye to both of them. You see that? So this is basically some advanced Java programming. And what is full stack? Full stack means it's again advanced programming, but so we will have a front end and a back end and a database, right? That's what is full stack. Or in the back end, we'll have several tiers in them. So this is called n-tier programming, like layer one, layer two, layer three, or tier one, tier two, tier three, like that. Or we'll have a model called MVC, a model view controller. Um, so basically, what that means is there is like some front end programming which is going to run in your browser or your mobiles. That's called front end. And then the backend programming, that is either in Spring Boot, or general Java EE, where you have JSP, servlets, and all that. And then that's deployed to like a web server, or you will be running with a socket programming. It depends on like what kind of application you are developing, but then that is in the back end. So what's the difference? The front end is going to be facing the customer or the user, and then the back end is basically going to be taking these requests from the front end or the customer, processing them, and then sending response back to this customer. So, and the data will be stored in the database. So those who are doing full stack, that means they know how to do front end programming, they know how to do back end programming, they know database, how to store data into database, um, and some database programming, like SQL, database design, and all that. That's what is full stack Java. So once you know full stack Java, or once you know full stack Java programming, then you can develop an application end to end. That's what is full stack means. So back end, front end, and database. So in database, typically you have what is database? Database is nothing but the database is also like a program that actually stores data for you. You don't have to worry about storing the data. So the database program will store that for you. So like we were just talking advanced programming, where a program talks to another program, like using socket programming, we said, right? So it's exactly that concept everyone uses to make these programs talk to each other. So database is a program that is running on a particular port, on a particular machine, and then if Java wants to talk to it, then Java has to know how to talk to that database application, because the database application would be publishing like a protocol how to talk to it, but the technology is going to be the same, right? Socket programming, or one more layer on top of it, like your HTTP protocol or something, right? So using that protocol, we will be talking to the database, and then the database is publishing like a language, how to talk to it. That's what is called database language, or we can also call it SQL, structured query language. So using that, we can talk to the database. But what is data? Data is basically numbers, text, and then these combination you can either store in files or databases. That's what is data. What is database? Like I said, the database is like a program that can store data for you in terms of tables, rows, and columns. Yeah. Parts of database, you have a database engine, and then query language, and then data itself, right? So using the query language, it can store data for you, and then it can retrieve data for you. All you need to know is the query language, and give that query language or use that query language to store and retrieve the data. But if you don't use this database application, and if you want to manage your own data, that is going to be very complex. That's why you have applications like database management systems that does that for you very effectively. So you don't have to do a lot of programming to manage your data yourself. Olden days, people used to manage data on their own, store it in files, organize them in a certain way, then process them, then reprocess them like that. But now, with the databases, the work has become so less, you can very easily manage your data. Yeah, JDBC, right? Java database connectivity, right? So, what is this? So, Java is giving you a programming way of connecting to these databases. So without Java, you can actually write queries and retrieve data, store data into database independently. But what's the fun in that? Or how do you use that effectively? You cannot, right? So what Java does is it will give you a provision to talk to these databases through the programming language. So, for example, you can take data from a user and then store that data into database through this JDBC connection, right? So that means through backend Java, you are providing a controller to the front end. The front end will provide a user interface to the user, and using that user interface, the user is entering the data, and the front end takes the data, gives to the back end, and then the back end is going to take the data and store it into the database using the JDBC connection. Now, when after some time, if the user wants to retrieve the data and see, then you will write another program. I mean, it's the same program, but you'll, like, let's say, develop another screen to retrieve the data and then show it to the user, again using the JDBC. So the JDBC is like um, a feature, or like a provision which is given in the Java. That's why Java is so powerful, where you can directly store the data into database and retrieve it. Okay. Any questions? Anyone? Thank you.